Good morning, Ma'am Alona, and to you, classmates. We are Group 4, and today we will tackle Lesson 10, which is about ethics and love, and Lesson 11, which is about the individual and the state. So I will first discuss Lesson 10, ethics and love. Um, Slide. So ethics and love. Ethics and love. It is love and the worthiness to love and to be loved which forms the most distinctive feature of human personality. Love does not merely aim at qualities, one does not love qualities. Love aims at the deepest reality, the most substantial hidden existing reality in the beloved, a metaphysical center deeper than all the qualities and essences which one can discover and enumerate in the beloved. So, this is why true love never says, I love your hair, or I love you for your fame, or I love you for your money, because that is not true love. True love ngani, you will love everything about him, his attitude and all. Dili kay ba kay gwapo, love dayon, because sa ring pamanili, love does not aim at qualities. So, ethics means the doing of good and the practice of virtue. To us, this should be all motivated by love. The whole of the moral order, the the whole complexes of moral laws and concepts can all be summed up in one simple formula. So, since ethics means doing good, technically all the things we should do should be out of love or motivated by love. But sometimes, I guess, not so much out of love. Like, too much love can kill you. And, ano ba to? And too much love will kill you, and you will hurt the people around you. So next, love of self and others. The first law of nature is self-preservation, which means self-love. It is but natural to love oneself. Man is not the absolute owner of his life. He just borrowed it, so to say, and has no right to dispose of it as he wills. Mm. So it says here that we have no right to to throw away our life, like it's some sort of garbage. Kay God is the absolute owner of this life. We have no right to destroy it. So true true love of self does not exclude love for others, for love is never selfish. It always shares its goodness in another. So when you actually love yourself, you technically love all the people around you because ring pamandidi, love is never selfish. So if you have hatred all over the people around you, that means that you do not love yourself. Because how can you love um everyone else if it doesn't start from you? Next, the moral law commands us to love our neighbors because all men have the same human nature. All have common origin and destiny. So, we should love our neighbors because papreho man la kita nakikiyokoy din ni hakalibutan. And we can just share the goodness to everyone. Um, Next is ethics and justice. Um, Love and justice are the two foundation stones of morality. Justice is a moral virtue which comes as a fruit of the constant and proper observance of rights and duties. Nominally, justice is defined as the constant will and disposition to give each one his due. Injustice, in opposite, is the imposition of wrong on another. It also means the violation of the rights of another or others. So, justice is important to everyone because without it, aton society um, magsasaramok ngan magiging law intolerant kita or kumbaga diri na naton aasihon it law ha aton society. And diri magiging fair ha mga tao which will eventually cause conflicts. So there are two attributes of justice. One is universality and the other one is equality. So universality is an element of justice which requires that justice be applied to all, and not merely to a particular group or class, and that everyone is bound to give everyone what is his due. Um, so in this attribute, the universality kuno dapat justice must be applied to all, to each and every one of us. Dili lang sa kagrupo. For example, in reality, it nananabuha aton society na is that only the group of upper class people it nakakatagamtam injustice and but not the lower class people. Karegusingon di refer ngan waray justice nga nananabo. Next is equality. Equality is a fundamental principle of justice which demands that justice is for all regardless of station or quality in life. Um, so nagsinisiring nga only the upper class people it may the justice but not the lower class, which is wrong. Kay, as it is stated here nga, justice is for all regardless of station or quality in life. So the fact that only the upper class people it nakakatagamtam in justice, waray na nanabo nga equality. Yan. Next is it signifies that law must be applied all to all without discrimination. So we have here the golden rule: do unto others as you wish others to do to you, or negatively, do not do unto others what you do not want to be done unto you. So we all know what that means. So I don't need to discuss it further. So listed down here are the specifications or applications of the principle of justice. So I know that you are familiar with the Ten Commandments. So here we have the first commandment: love God above all. Next is respect and love your parents. Next is killing, lying, stealing, bearing false witness, adultery, and all other forms are violations of the rule of justice. Next, general applications. Um, Number one, we have the duties of the state to the citizens or the distributive justice. Next is the duties of the individual to the state or legal justice. And number three, duties of an individual to another or the commutative justice. First, let's discuss the distributive justice. Um, the state must fulfill certain duties toward its citizens. These duties are clearly stated in our Constitution. Um, so, kung mababasa niyo ha, 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, tikang ha Section 7 tuto ba Section 28 naka-state dito or nakasulat dito at duties it state to its citizens. Example: the state shall promote social justice in all. No. For example, Section 17, the state shall give priority to education, science and technology, arts, culture, and sports. So, kailangan nini ma-fulfill nga duties for us nga citizens of this state. So, amoy to it distributive justice. Next is the legal justice. Mm, so, the citizen in turn has his duties to the state, for instance, to render military service to the state. So, parehas sa South Korea, we all know that may dahera military service. That's because that's their duty to their state. So, haaton liwat, walay pa man hito nga military service, pero it aton la is to follow the rules and laws hini nga aton state or aton country. Next is the commutative justice. Olo, di nakikitaan. Um, Commutative justice. Every individual should render to another that which belongs to him. Um, Commutative justice, singon every person should give to another what is rightfully his. Kung iya ayaw pagpinang-angkon hit dili imo. Amoy to commutative justice. So you need to respect another citizen to avoid conflict. Next is the particular applications of justice. Mm, we have the duties of justice. It follows from the principle of love and justice that it is wrong to do anything harmful to the body, reputation, and property of others. Thus, murder is a great wrong because it runs the counter to the basic principle of love and justice. Um, so, when you execute murder, waray ka pang mamahalhain mo sarili ngan to the one that you are murdering and justice is taken away. Next is it does violence to the social order and therefore against the moral law. So it is against the moral law and also to the fundamental law of the state. Next, it is against man's nature as a social being and therefore against the natural law. And lastly, it robs God of his sole dominion over life and death. So, baga kalay nagparabuot kung angay ba i-murder ini nga tao or tagan pahin longer life, but you have no right to take someone's life because God alone can decide if he takes us now or maybe later. So, like murder, and abortion, euthanasia or mercy killing is also against the law of nature and God, who has the authority over of every moment of man's life. Um, excuse me, may kailangan kong tubig. Um, so, like murder, it abortion and euthanasia are also ways of taking human's life. And as I said, we have no right to take someone's life because only God has the authority over every moment of man's life. So we have the rights of the individual. Number one, we have the self-defense. So under certain conditions, it is normally justified to kill an unjust aggressor in self-defense. The right to live is a basic and inalienable right. Now, the right to live necessarily includes the right to use the means to necessarily sustain and defend one's life. To kill an unjust aggressor may be morally permissible under certain conditions. So of course, we have to defend ourselves from danger. Example, may the intruder ha iyo balay and or someone tries to pull you inside the van or kung hold up ka and now you may execute self-defense. You can either run away, fight back, or maybe just kill them. Kung waray na talaga iba na paraan. But of course, permissible la ito hiya under certain conditions, of course. we have the conditions. Number one, that there is imminent danger of losing life or great bodily possessions. Um, of course, when there is high risk of losing your life, bagat uunahan mo na lahiya, kesa naman ikaw una nga mamatay. So, number two, that there is no other way to escape. Um, Pag waray ka na talaga choice and the only choice left is to get rid or kill the attacker. Number three, that no greater force can be inflicted than what is required to ward off aggression. Number two, rights of the individual, we have the honor and good name. So one of the greatest possessions that a man has is his honor. Speaking ill or writing anything to ruin the good name of anyone, especially what is said or written is not true. It is a grave wrong. So, it imo pag pinanlibak ka o sa katawo and saying or making up stories na diri man tuod is wrong. So we have here adtortion is a newly coined word to signify the nefarious practice of extorting money, which consists in suppressing the publication of an article derogatory to one's character provided that the intended victim pays a certain amount of money to the publisher. This act shall be the malice of extortion and usually involves the malicious intent of libel. So, absorption ko no is paying money to a publisher para mag-publish in false article about someone to make someone bad or not good in the eyes of other people. And as we all know, libel is a crime. As we all know, libel is a crime. It is a crime against someone's honor. Um, it is a defamation by print, writing, pictures, or signs. So if you write something about me, for example, hachat mas ring ka nga, iya kapit spy ha GC, iya adto nag-send han screenshot kan ma'am, bagat sugat tapos, pwede ko ikaw kasuhan hin libel because you are spreading false information about something that I didn't do. And you are ruining someone's name or reputation, and that is wrong. Very wrong. Next, we have the truthfulness. Lying is intrinsically wrong. Why? Because it is against the natural purpose of speech. So, its purpose its speech is to get information, and when you start lying, you will ruin the whole thing, and there will be falsifications, which could obviously lead to chaos. Next, lying tends to disturb the social order. So, makakaguba kahit human interrelationships once you start lying. And humans are part of society, so it result maguguba talaga its social order because nga nagbibinuwa ka. So, if you want peace on earth, start telling the truth and nothing but the truth. So, lying does violence to man's social nature and therefore is against the moral law. Um, when you start lying kasi and that person finds out that you were lying, it affects that person deals with you. It affects how that person deals with you forever. Next is the mental reservation. Mental reservation is the making of a statement which would seem a lie without qualification but would not be a lie with the proper qualifications reserved in one's mind. So, mental reservation is what we call the lie of necessity. And this happens mental reservation is what we call the lie of necessity. And this happens to us most of the time. But we lie for a reason. For example, We have here the examples of mental reservation. Reservation number one is pleading not guilty, though one is in fact guilty in court, can be a form of mental reservation. So, mental reservation inihiya because example, nangawat ka hin iPhone, tapos ikaw ang number one nga suspect. Tas mayakan ka ha court nga, you are not guilty, even though you are guilty. But you just said that you are not guilty just so you can escape from being jailed. And that is mental reservation, bagat you are saving yourself from something you don't want to happen. Bagat sugad. And next example is to a fellow who always disturbs you by always going with you to the show, you can tell I will not go to the show, although you are really going, reserving the phrase if you go with me in your mind. For example, hini na scenario. Example, Um, perminala na upo di sa haakon kung nakadto ko ha movie world. Tapos nagpipinalibre la pagod hiya. So, next time, pag mangpagkaanay akon makadto ko ha movie world, masayan ko na, dira ko makadto. Even though makadto talaga ako. Pero, diri ko laya gusto makaupot kay na, naubos ta kwarta ha iya. Bagat sagad. So, in this scenario, I am protecting myself and my money from Jessa. So mental reservation in here. Next, the last example we have is to one who wishes to buy, asking you if you have this or that thing. You may answer no, reserving mentally the qualification not for sale. So So, iniliwat nga example, it's scenario niya may gusto pumalit. Sigunta gusto niya pumalit hin ice. Tas pagkita mo freezer, lilima na lat ice, takay magiinom ka mo timbarkada niya, tas waray na ice. So, magbibinawa ka na la, masring ka na waray na ice, even though may da pa. But you just said that para because you have personal reasons and that is mental reservation. Next is family and social ethics. Ethics deals with human relations in a community, but the basis of the whole complexus of human relationship is found in the family, which is the very unit of society. Hence, social ethics must include and begin with family ethics. So before mabuit society, of course, nagtitikang anay to hiya ha, family. So in this topic, we will tackle something about divorce because dapat it family may ada unity and that is why divorce is immoral. Okay, since family unity is the basis of social unity, it follows that anything disruptive or detrimental to family life and unity is likewise destructive of the social and moral order. Thus, from the moral standpoint, divorce is wrong for it destroys family unity, which is the very foundation of the social unity. So once the family breaks, so is the society. Baga na ibanan, in peace, it's society. Okay, may divorce na naganap. Next, it means breaking a solemn promise made in marriage. So bagat i-Lord and niyo witness sa simbahan na niyo pagkasal and you even exchanged vows tapos magdi-divorce la ka mo. Very wrong. Next, it stifles the very spirit of love which holds the family together. Next, it is against the primary end of marriage, which is the proper upbringing of children. So, once you guys divorce each other, waray na pagmamahal. Especially when you have children. Um, itira na lang mafe-feel kay hatred towards you, mga parents nira, and hatred towards others because may ada times or di ba may ada tendency labi na kon kabataan pa nga nag-divorce ka mo. So may dayto tendency nga they will get jealous of other kids nga completed family. Mas next, lastly, it separates what nature has wielded together. So amo na init sinisiring nga pinagtagpo pero hindi tinadhana. So, nature welded you together. So, kung nag-divorce ka mo, bagat sa lapahit nature nga nangatto ka hamaling tao. Parang ganun. And lastly, we have the birth control and morality. Birth control is primarily and fundamentally a moral question, which should be viewed from the moral standpoint. But first, we have to make an important distinction between two types of birth control, namely natural birth control and the artificial birth control. So, natural birth control includes continence or the so called rhythm method. Um, so, natural birth control or the rhythm method or calendar method um, is a form of family planning. So you don't need to use contraceptives or other artificial stuff. So it nananabuhin nga natural birth control. It girl nag bagad gid chakla niya iya menstrual flow, iti menstrual history bago to avoid getting pregnant. So next is artificial birth control. It includes any device, mechanical, chemical, surgical, as in sterilization. So, amo na need paggamit it. Contraceptives like the male condom, cervical cups, injections for women like the Depo shot to stop women from releasing an egg. We have contraceptive pills and implants. So that's all po for this chapter. Next report then.
Pantheistic theory of state. The chief exponents of this theory are Plato of ancient times and Hegel of modern times. Plato's teaching is colored by pantheism. He viewed the different parts of and form or unified by psychic principle of see are just manifestations or extensions. The purpose of the state is unity and harmony, which can only attain only if the state possesses absolute sovereignty over its subjects. He would make the state supreme in all matters of education as well of conscience in order to bring about unity of thinking and acting, which is the supreme end of the state. So the goal of the state is to promote harmony and unity, which can only be done if the state has complete control over its citizens. In order to achieve unity of thoughts and actions, which is the ultimate goal of the state, he would make the state supreme in all areas of education as well, in the concerns of conscience. So, Hegel taught dialectic idealism theory views all things as different expressions of the idea, the absolute in continuous process of evolution. To Hegel, the state has become an aspect of the absolute, which is the common substrate of all things. The state, he says, is the social substance that has arrived at self-consciousness, is the rational of itself and for itself. It is the terrestrial divinity. The state being one with the internal substance of universe is not operation of a man. Since it is a divine institution, it will must be the sovereign law, the source of all things and duties. According to Hegel, the state has evolved into a component of the absolute and sure area foundation of all things. And also, he claims that the state is the social substance that attains self awareness. So, next is the criticism. The Platonic and Hegelian system give no place for the individual logically. It would destroy all individuality and all liberty. There can be no individual rights and freedom in a government where the state exercises absolute control over the citizens. Man existed first before the state. Man is man before he is a citizen. He has rights granted him by the natural law which already existed before there was any state. So next.
Divine right theory. The rule according to this theory impersonate the state, lets he himself hold his office directly by divine right. He is then responsible directly to God alone and give no account of his subject for his government. So, the divine right of kings, or divine right theory of kingship, is political. It asserts that a monarch is subject to earthly authority, deriving his right directly from the will of God. So, next part. So, next part.
Next daw.
Babati na.
Oo.
Yes.
Theory of social contract. Another theory is that the state owes its origin to a social contract freely entered into by its members. This has been interpreted in different ways. Hobbes devoted himself to the development of the idea in favor of absolute monarchy, while Russian interpreted the idea in terms of absolute democracy and individualism. Hobbes began with the premise that man is fundamentally equal, only adverse by nature to society by his kind. Due to the imperative impulse for self-preservation, man seeks peace, otherwise all would be destroyed. Social contract, the development known as social contract theory. So method here had justifying political principles arrangement by appeal to the agreement that would be made among suitably situated, rational, free, and equal persons. Next slide. Oh, amo ni. So it is not true that the motive which draws men to civil society is the fear of violence. Hobbes fails to consider
So the theory of Rousseau. Rousseau, on the other hand, viewed man as naturally good, completely free and virtuous. Unfortunately, however, this utopian state of man did not last. So man was born free and good. Now he is in the sins and has become bad. This due, according to him, to the evil influence of the society, civilization, learning, and progress. Man, therefore, lost this his original goodness, his primitive tranquility of spirit. So, kumbaga, um, dati hiya nga buutan it because of influence of society, civilization, and learning and progress. So, naging ano hiya, naging masama. So, this is one of uniting himself with all may nevertheless obey no one but himself and remain as free as before. Kumbaga gusto niya him mag-unite like same han before. nga waray pa mga away or whatever. So amo niya gusto. So next. Next. So criticism. Russian view of man's nature, like that of Hobbes, is purely imaginary and arbitrary. Rousseau teaches in effect that man is by nature ecosocial and individualistic. He is guilty of serious oversight. Man cannot be completely free, as Rousseau's man to be at the beginning. The natural law was in existence since the beginning, and man's actions were always governed by law. So, Rousseau's theory of education emphasized the importance of expression to produce well-balanced free-thinking child. Next.
Next is the Christian concept of the state. The theories of Plato have So next is the Christian concept of the state. The theories of Plato, Hobbes, and that of Rousseau represent extremes. The Christian view avoids both extremes. A true concept of government, according to this Christian view, must consider and give justice to both elements of subjects and rulers, of governors and governed, two things which can never be separated from each other in the realm of true politics. Both rulers and ruled should work in harmony for the common good. So, nayakan di din na, according ang Christian view, ang Iraq concept of government kailangan na consider nga nahatag in justice, kapamahalaan ngan kanamamahala liwat. Ito nga duwa daw kung dire pwede igbulag or magbulag in the realm of true politics para maging maupay and work or for the common good. Additional information lang. A Christian state is a country that recognizes a form of Christianity and as its official religion, usually may the state church or established church, which is a Christian denomination that supports the government and is supported liwat by the government. So, next is, as a basis for the solution to the problem of seeming conflict between the two, this theory starts for its premises with this psychological principle. First is man is a social being. He has a nature and inclination for family life. He cannot live alone as individual. To fulfill his inborn urge for happiness, he links to group of life. So, yakan pa man, sarin pa man, no man is an island. Dili kita makakasurvive hin mag-usala. Kailangan natin yung ibang nga tao or social relationship like family, friends, etc. to fulfill our needs, to express our thoughts, feelings, and for us to achieve happiness. Second is man is a personal being. From the metaphysical viewpoint, must as an individual is independent and subservient to the state since the general is always greater than the individual, the whole superior to the part. So man is a personal being, pero man is not only an individual. He is also a person to the state na may the rights and precedent and transcendent to that state. Man likewise may the destiny that lies beyond the state. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all for group 4.